The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Picture the scene. It is the historic stone steps of London's Old Marylebone Town Hall.
Right. Right in the heart of the city.
Exactly. There is a sudden shower of confetti catching the light in the late spring air. And emerging through that flurry of petals is a bride.
But she's not wearing what you'd expect, right?
No, not at all. She is not wearing a traditional flowing white gown. She is in a striking asymmetrical white skirt suit. Her face is framed by this wide-brimmed hat lined with catching gold leaf.
It's just an incredible visual.
Yeah, and beside her, the groom is visibly shaking. I mean, he is actively wiping away tears. It looks like the climax of a perfectly directed, high-budget indie film.
But this isn't a movie set.
No. In that exact moment, Hollywood and the music industry officially had their new favorite married couple. Because Dua Lipa just got married, and she did it quietly in a London town hall.
Which is just a wild headline when you think about it.
It really is. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And this story definitely has layers.
Oh, for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
let's unpack this. We've pulled a massive stack of sources today. We've got celebrity news reports, high-end jewelry breakdowns, and even local dispatches straight from Sicily.
Because the mission of this deep dive is to explore the fascinating, almost whiplash-inducing contrast here.
Right, the contrast between this couple's ultra-private, minimalist London wedding and the massive, star-studded Italian extravaganza they're gearing up for right now.
Yeah, because the story buried in these sources isn't just about a celebrity guest list or, who designed the dress, though the fashion choices are absolutely monumental.
Yeah, we are going to get into the fashion.
Definitely. But it's really about the mechanics of modern celebrity culture. This dual wedding strategy is basically a masterclass in how today's superstars construct, protect, and, well, monetize their public and private lives.
We are absolutely going to get into that massive Italian party, the unbelievable rumored guest list, the fashion houses involved, all of it.
It's going to be huge.
But before we cross the continent to Italy, wait until you hear the bizarre coincidence of how these two actually met. Because to understand the radical choices they made for their wedding day, you really have to understand the courtship.
Right. The courtship really sets the stage. Callum Turner went on the record about their so-called meet cute.
Okay.
It took place at a party in Los Angeles just before a mutual friend's birthday. They ended up sitting next to each other, struck up a conversation, and quickly realized they were holding the exact same book.
Wait, what were they reading? I mean, I'm assuming not a light beach thriller.
Oh, far from it. They were both reading Trust by Hernan Diaz. Yeah, it's a dense, Pulitzer Prize-winning piece of literary fiction. It deals heavily with wealth, power, and how public narratives are constructed.
That is heavy for a party read.
Right. But the kicker is the timing. Callum mentioned to her that he had just finished the very first chapter. Dua looked at him and revealed she had also just finished the exact same chapter.
You're kidding.
No, so he literally looked at her and said, "So we're on the same page."
Okay, I have to pause you right there. My radar is going off.
I know.
This sounds literally scripted. If I watched a rom-com where two incredibly attractive, famous people just happen to be reading the exact same niche, Pulitzer-winning novel about constructed narratives.
On the exact same page.
Right, on the exact same page, and the handsome actor drops a line, we're on the same page, I would turn the movie off. I'd say the writers were being incredibly lazy. It is almost too perfect to be real.
I completely agree. And the sources acknowledge how much it strains credulity. It feels like a PR team's dream scenario. But what makes it slightly more believable, and even more cinematic, really, are the missed connections that paved the way for it.
What do you mean missed connections?
Well, Turner admitted in subsequent interviews that they had almost met 4 or 5 times prior to that specific LA party.
Wait, really?
Yeah. She would be leaving a gathering, and he would arrive 15 minutes later. They were constantly orbiting each other, just missing an introduction by a fraction of an hour over several months.
So the universe finally forces them to sit down together over Chapter 1 of Trust. That is wild. And looking at the timeline here, things seem to move at warp speed after that.
The acceleration was intense. They first sparked dating rumors in January of 2024.
Okay.
Paparazzi spotted them at an after-party in London for Masters of the Air, the Apple TV series Callum was starring in.
Right, I remember those photos.
And over the next year, they became hyper-visible. They were photographed dancing in front of the Eiffel Tower, going on sun-drenched holidays to Palermo.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
And then, by June 2025, the narrative shifted from a casual romance to a permanent commitment when Dua Lipa confirmed to British Vogue that they were engaged.
And the ring from that engagement made a massive splash when she debuted on Instagram.
Whoa, absolutely massive.
The sources we have from the jewelry world go into heavy detail. We're talking about a 2.70 carat oval-cut diamond.
Which is substantial.
Very. But the specs are what caught my eye. It's listed as F color and VS1 clarity. For those of us who don't spend our weekends shopping for high-end diamonds, what does that actually translate to?
Well, in the diamond industry, F color means it sits in the highest tier of colorless diamonds.
Okay.
Meaning it reflects pure, icy light without any yellow tint whatsoever.
Oh, wow. And the VS1 part.
Right. VS1 clarity stands for very slightly included, which means even if a master jeweler examines it under 10 times magnification, they would really struggle to find a single flaw or inclusion.
That is crazy.
It's an incredibly rare, pristine stone, and they mounted it on a very bold, chunky 18-karat gold band. It wasn't a delicate, whisper-thin, traditional ring.
No, it looked heavy.
Yeah, it was a heavyweight statement piece, valued at around 25,000 pounds.
So they have the immaculate meet-cute, the flawless diamond, the global adoration. The stage is basically set for the biggest, most ostentatious wedding of the decade. But then we hit May 31st, 2026.
A Friday in late May, and they executed a complete pivot.
Because, I mean, if you were one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, you have the resources to rent out a private island.
Yeah.
You could fly in 100 of your closest A-list friends on private jets, stream a ceremony that breaks the internet.
Exactly.
But instead, they drive to the Old Marylebone Town Hall in London. I saw the photos, and honestly, it looks like a government registry office.
That is essentially what it is, a modest, legal, civil ceremony. And the guest list reflects that restraint perfectly.
Oh yeah, tell them about the guest list.
The official count from the sources confirms there were only 8 guests present.
8 people total.
Total.
You, me, and 6 friends could fit in that room.
Yeah, it was strictly an inner circle affair. Dua's mother, Anissa, and her father, Doogie, who was also her manager, were there.
Right.
And the emotional reality of the day, reported by bystanders, was incredibly raw. You have Callum Turner, the Hollywood leading man, who was reportedly visibly shaking and completely in tears when he saw Dua walk into the room.
That detail cuts right through the celebrity veneer. It's just a very human reaction.
Contrast that with the humor of the moment, though. To cut the tension of those tears, you have Dua's dad, Doogie.
Oh, I love this part.
He happens to be a massive, lifelong Arsenal football fan. And at the exact same time they were exchanging vows in this emotional, quiet room, the Arsenal Premier League victory parade was happening just a few streets away in central London.
That is incredible timing.
So Doogie is standing there, beaming with pride for his daughter, but also cracking jokes under his breath about how her wedding timing was clashing with his football team's parade route.
That is the most universal dad energy possible. Your daughter is an international pop sensation getting married, and you're quietly checking the parade scores on your phone.
Exactly.
But looking at this venue choice, I have to push back a bit. I understand wanting a quiet moment, but why do the legal bit in a town hall? It feels like building a stadium-sized stage and then only playing a secret acoustic set for 8 people in the lobby.
Well, to understand the venue, you really have to look at its history. Marylebone Town Hall isn't just a generic office. It's a Grade 2 listed building in the UK.
What does that designation mean exactly?
It legally protects buildings of extraordinary architectural or historical interest from being altered or destroyed.
Oh, I see.
So it has these imposing neoclassical columns and this gorgeous Edwardian Baroque stonework. But more importantly, it is steeped in rock and roll pedigree.
Really? Who else got married there?
Sir Paul McCartney married Nancy Shevell there. Liam Gallagher married Patsy Kensit there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is the historic epicenter of British music royalty deciding to quietly legitimize their relationships.
Okay, so it's not random. It has a very specific cultural resonance.
Exactly.
But the decision to keep it to just 8 people, it sounds to me like they build an emotional firewall. By having this tiny legal ceremony first, they built a wall around their actual marriage to protect it from the public eye.
A firewall is the perfect analogy. This connects to a broader psychological and public relations trend we are seeing with hyper-visible celebrities.
Right.
When your entire life, your outfits, your relationships, your breakups, your coffee runs, is consumed by millions of people as daily content, you suffer a profound loss of privacy.
Oh, absolutely.
You start to crave absolute control over your most vulnerable milestones. By stripping away the spectacle, the paparazzi helicopters, and the massive guest list of industry executives, they are reclaiming the core emotional experience.
That makes total sense.
They get to actually be nervous, to cry, to make jokes about football without feeling like they are performing those emotions for a global audience.
But if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed because we've got even crazier stories ahead. Once you secure that emotional firewall, though, what do you do with the public persona? You dress it for the history books.
You really do.
Because while the ceremony was minimalist and intimate, the fashion styling was anything but. The visual statement they released to the world was roaring.
Oh, the fashion was a meticulously curated message. Dua Lipa completely bypassed the traditional, voluminous tulle white wedding gown.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, she opted for a bespoke white skirt suit from Schiaparelli Haute Couture.
I spent a lot of time looking at the breakdowns of this outfit. It was designed by Daniel Roseberry, who is currently leading Schiaparelli.
He is a genius.
He really is. He is known for these incredibly surreal, bold, almost armor-like designs. This wasn't a standard blazer you wear at the office.
Far from it.
The sources describe it as an ivory caddy jacket featuring these striking gold bijou buttons paired with a high-low asymmetric skirt. But what exactly is caddy fabric and why use it for a wedding?
Caddy is a luxurious woven silk that drapes beautifully but holds a very stiff architectural shape.
Oh, okay.
It's perfect for a highly structured jacket. It doesn't float. It commands space. And the accessories elevated the entire silhouette from a great suit to an iconic bridal look.
The hat. We have to talk about the hat.
Yes. She wore a wide-brimmed hat by the legendary milliner Stephen Jones. The brim was lined with gold leaf that caught the sunlight. And she paired that with sheer white gloves and classic white Christian Louboutin pumps.
We also have to unpack the jewelry.
Oh.
Because the sources from the high jewelry world were very specific about this. She wore a Bulgari Serpenti necklace.
Cast in white gold and entirely encrusted with diamonds.
Wow.
And this choice is vital to understanding the semiotics of her look. Dua Lipa has a long, highly documented relationship with archival high jewelry.
Right.
Let's remember the 2023 Met Gala, where she wore the legendary Tiffany Lucida star diamond, weighing over 100 carats.
That was unforgettable.
She regularly wears museum-grade Bulgari to the Grammys. Choosing that specific Serpenti necklace, a bold, coiled snake motif for a daytime registry office wedding, is an incredible flex.
It really is.
The snake is a historic symbol of rebirth and power. Wearing it to your civil ceremony cements her status as an untouchable fashion figure.
And Callum Turner played his part perfectly. He let her shine, but he looked incredibly sharp. He wore a ternal, double-breasted navy suit, a matching navy shirt, and a silk tie.
Very classic.
Yeah, the dark, monochromatic look completely absorbed the light, which made her ivory and gold outfit pop dramatically against the gray London stonework.
But let's look at the historical parallel here, because nothing at this echelon of celebrity fashion is an accident.
Never.
When I look at the white skirt suit and the wide-brimmed hat,
Well,
that is a direct, undeniable visual quote of Bianca Jagger.
it is practically a one-to-one homage. In 1971, Bianca Jagger married Mick Jagger in St. Tropez. She wore an iconic white Yves Saint Laurent smoking jacket, a mid-length skirt, and a wide-brimmed sun hat. Why is that specific 1971 look considered so culturally shifting?
Well, because back then, wearing a men's-style YSL jacket with nothing underneath to a Catholic wedding was the ultimate middle finger to bridal tradition.
Oh, I see.
It defined an era of rock and roll chic. It was rebellious, effortless, and dripping with cool. It completely changed what a bride was allowed to look like.
So here is my question for you. Is this just a bride wanting to look chic on her wedding day, or is this a highly calculated brand move?
Oh, it's calculated.
By intentionally mirroring Bianca Jagger's exact act of rebellion, isn't Dua Lipa essentially demanding that we view her as a timeless cultural icon, rather than just a modern pop star who makes catchy radio hits?
When fashion historians talk about semiotics, they mean that clothes aren't just fabric, they are a visual vocabulary.
Right.
Every garment is a word, and the whole outfit is a sentence. You are entirely right. She is staking a claim.
Okay.
By choosing the Marylebone Town Hall, the site of rock and roll marriages, and channeling Bianca Jagger, she's curating a very specific London bride aesthetic.
Which is brilliant.
The sentence she's communicating is that she is effortless, rebellious, and belongs in the pantheon of eternally cool music history. It's a brilliant way of elevating her brand from current hitmaker to historical icon.
It's a pure power move. I'm not just on the radio, I'm in the history books. So they build the firewall. They pull off this effortlessly cool, tear-jerking historical homage in London. Job done. Happily ever after. Time to settle down.
Right, not even close.
Because now we have to talk about the impending maximalist circus waiting for them across the continent.
The contrast is truly staggering. Just days after this quiet legal ceremony of 8 people, they are flying out for a massive multi-day extravaganza in Sicily.
I want to run through the rumors and reports on this Italian leg because it sounds like a totally different universe.
It is.
The guest list alone is a music festival lineup. Singers like Charli XCX and Tove are expected to attend. There are heavy rumors circulating that Sir Elton John, who famously collaborated with Dua on the track Cold Heart, might actually perform at the reception.
Which would be incredible. And the fashion for this leg is also going to be vastly different. The sources suggest that Donatella Versace and Simon Porte Jacquemus are designing custom, bespoke dresses for the various Italian celebrations.
Wow.
So we are moving away from the avant-garde, structured Schiaparelli tailoring of London and stepping into highly glamorous, traditional, dramatic Italian couture.
The logistics of this are mind-boggling. They have reportedly booked out entire floors of the Villa Igia. For those unfamiliar, it's this famous, historic 5-star Art Nouveau hotel in Palermo owned by Roccoforte Hotels.
Beautiful place.
But the main parties aren't even happening at the hotel. The local Italian dispatches mentioned they might be utilizing the GAM, which is the Modern Art Gallery, or the Spasimo Church, which is this breathtaking, roofless, restored historical site.
Right?
The security detail is even talking about cordoning off the entire Piazza Croce di Despri right in the center of the city.
The reaction from the locals in Palermo adds a fascinating layer to this, too. The city is reportedly absolutely buzzing with anticipation.
No, we aren't annoyed.
Not at all. One of the local dispatches interviewed a man named Alessandro Minone, who owns a popular local bar called Coletti.
Oh, I've heard of that place.
Yeah, Dua and Callum actually had aperitivo there last year while on holiday, just sitting amongst the locals. Minone spoke about how proud the residents are that she chose their city.
She actually has a history of engaging with Palermo, right? She did a major promo campaign for the Puma Palermo sneakers, and she made a point to wear the local football club's pink jersey during the shoot. It seems like she built some real goodwill there.
She built immense goodwill. The local Italian press is already calling this the wedding of the year. Interestingly, they are actively comparing it to Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's massive wedding of the century that took place in Venice.
Oh, an interesting comparison.
But there's a stark difference in reception. While the Bezos wedding involved parking a mega yacht and felt somewhat alien and disruptive to the locals, the people of Palermo seemed to genuinely welcome Dua Lipa's event. She has shown a track record of appreciating their culture rather than just using their city as a pretty backdrop.
Okay, the Italian setup sounds incredible. But later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming. Wait, no, let me push back on this whole dual wedding concept right now.
Sure. What's your thought?
If the firewall was so important, if having that perfect, intimate, tear-jerking ceremony with your parents in London was necessary to protect your mental health and your genuine love, doesn't turning around 3 days later and throwing a massive, cordoned-off city square celebrity rager completely blow up the firewall? Why do you need the circus if you already captured the magic?
That is the central tension of modern celebrity life. It doesn't blow up the firewall. It serves a completely different, highly necessary function.
How so?
Look at the economics and the social dynamics of it. The London wedding was for their hearts, their parents, and their legal commitment. The Italian wedding is for their community, their industry, and frankly, their brand sponsors.
So the Italian wedding is less of a romantic milestone and more of a networking event with an open bar, a veil, and paparazzi.
In many ways, yes. A wedding at this tier of global fame is a cultural summit. It's a multi-day fashion show for Versace and Jacquemus. It's a gathering of the music industry's elite power players.
That makes sense.
And it's a massive party to celebrate their joy with their wider circle of hundreds of friends who couldn't fit into the Marylebone Town Hall. By splitting it into 2 distinct events, they didn't have to compromise.
They got both.
Exactly. They successfully protected their private emotional core in London. Now, feeling secure in that, they get to fulfill their social and public roles as glittering superstars in Sicily.
When you step back and look at the whole picture, it really is brilliant. Dua Lipa and Callum Turner have basically managed to pull off the ultimate celebrity magic trick.
They really have.
They kept the actual vows, the real legal commitment, deeply intimate and raw. Just 8 people, some happy tears, and a dad checking football scores.
Which is so wholesome.
Right. But simultaneously, they served up an absolute masterclass in fashion semiotics with that Bianca Jagger homage, demanding their place in history. And on top of all that, they still get to throw a massive continent-spanning party for their famous friends. They really figured out how to have their wedding cake and eat it too.
They absolutely did. And honestly, stripped of the couture and the paparazzi, it's a dynamic you can probably relate to.
Yeah, that's true.
We all have to navigate this exact balance in the social media age. We constantly have to decide which precious, quiet moments we keep entirely for ourselves and which milestones we choose to perform for our friends, our extended family, or our digital feeds. They just did it on a global stage.
That is so true. We all have our own version of the quiet town hall versus the loud public rager. But I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today. We talked about how the Marylebone Town Hall is where rock stars historically go to legitimize their rebellious love.
Right, the McCartney and Gallagher history.
Exactly. And we explored how Dua Lipa intentionally mirrored Bianca Jagger's exact 1971 aesthetic to communicate a specific message. So, with this incredibly calculated, historical wedding move, is this the exact moment Dua Lipa officially stops being just a pop princess who commands the radio and officially ascends into the ranks of untouchable historical rock and roll royalty? Think about it.
It's definitely a turning point.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining. Catch you next time.